Christian Felder, who provided this opportunity. Maybe he will talk about this venue later on. And yeah, I will hand it over to Christian and yeah, have fun. And we will learn all about virtual production. Yeah.
Yeah, let me take over here. My name is Christian Felder, and I'm the host guiding through this evening. Very happy to do so. May I first introduce the guests we prepared for you. Our first guest is Tim Wen. He is a virtual production expert from HTC. Then we also have on board Daniel Botto. He is from the super support team of Aximmetry, a software doing virtual production. And then next to me, I have Leon. Leon did his bachelor work on virtual production and can tell us something about his scientific approach to this topic. And we have his professor on board, Clemens. I say hello to Clemens as well. So here you can see them both. Introductory wise, I'm working with virtual studios since 2001, and what we did so far was in a broadcast environment, mainly because it was so expensive. So my first contact with virtual studios was with the soccer championship when Sat.1 still had the football rights. Which is now 21 years ago. In this time, it was very hardware extensive, software was very expensive, and since we have the rise of VR and gaming environments, we saw the costs coming down, and this is the situation where we are now. We have these little trackers that changed the whole game. With these little trackers, it was possible to locate cameras in space at a completely other price tag than it was the last 20 years ago. And so today I'm talking to you from Yo-Yo, which is a sailing school. And I let some images run from an early draft so you can see what we are doing. We are planning to do training in sailing in a virtual studio set. So we're using it for teaching the people how to use a sailboat. And in the background, you see early renderings from our studio. Which I would love to have the whole talk in the studio, but as you can imagine, the school is running and we have three classes going on tonight. So yes, we are in one of our classrooms and the studio is occupied. The guests we have are separated from, are approaching from different angles. We have Tim Wen, who is supporting the hardware with HTC. And we have Daniel Botto, who is from Aximmetry, and Aximmetry does a great job to take the functions that we need to run a virtual production set like a kit of Lego. So you can play with Lego, with inputs, outputs, you can play with 3D objects, but he will tell us this in more details, and I think we start with him. Daniel, can you hear me? Where is Daniel?
I'm right here. Can you hear me?
Hi.
Daniel, he can't hear us.
Can you hear me now?
Now we can hear you.
Okay, sorry for, yeah, I just need to change speakers and microphone and so on, but you should be able to hear now. I have the microphone over here. So thank you. Hi, my name is Daniel. I work at Aximmetry. We are a Hungarian company all the way from Budapest, not that far from you, right? And I am also Hungarian, so I've been working with Aximmetry for a while now. And thank you very much for the lovely introduction. It's so good to hear that you have that you can, work every day with Aximmetry, and that as I have it from your words, what I can take is that you are actually having fun while using the program, which is obviously, I'm not saying it's one of our goals, but it's definitely a very good thing. So thank you for that. Just a few words about Aximmetry, why this is important, and for us to make it, accessible virtual production. As you have mentioned, all the tracking systems coming into play, and now that we have better computers on a more accessible price and so on, so we can extend the reality of virtual reality to basically, all around the world. We can go to schools. We have a lot of people from universities working with us, so we are very proud of that as well. And right now, I would like to show you a little bit about how our program works and how generally virtual production works. So right now, the output you are seeing, so what your image list, what you are seeing right now, it comes from Aximmetry. So actually, everything is put out of Aximmetry. I'm not sure how technical. Some of you are very technical, I guess. Maybe not all of you, but right now we have an NDI output coming out from Aximmetry, and this is how it's fed into the meeting room. So that's how you can see the image. Right now, I'm pointing at one of our cameras here in the studio. Yeah, by the way, this is our studio and / office. You will see our studio part in 1 second. And now I'm using a PTZ camera. So I have a remote control over here. Here you can see it. And if I move this, you will see that I can move the camera. So here we have another studio camera. It's a Blackmagic camera, and also there is a tracking device on the top, which we will talk about a little bit later. I think HTC will talk a lot about this actually. And if I move on, you can see some of our lights. And please meet our lovely talent today. His name is Thomas, and he's going to help me with the demonstration. So he's standing in the green screen right now. So the picture you have just shown us, it was another green screen studio, a little bit like ours, except that our green screen studio is for testing purposes. So since we are not doing any production, we are not doing shows, we are not doing anything, we are just, we just want to make the software better. We actually, our setup over here is not at all anything which has any, like as for quality, is definitely nowhere near with the lights and all the setup and the quality of the green background is definitely nowhere near professional level, but it's on purpose because this is the best way for us to test all of the issues or whatever comes up. That's the best way for us to test it. And now also in Aximmetry, I'm going to change the view with only one click. This is the input of the other camera, the Blackmagic camera you have just seen. Let me show you the interface. 1 second, don't get scared. So this is the interface of Aximmetry. I am moving around over here, and you can see here is this PTZ2 out. So as soon as I turn it on, the camera image will switch. So this is the camera image you will see. And if I turn the capture off, you are going to see the input image of the other camera. All right. So I'm going to walk through some of the steps which makes it easy for you to use virtual production in your production. The first thing is that we have this camera input, and you can, so this is again a live input. Say hi, Thomas, again, thank you. So this is a live input again, and I'm going to just show you that we can crop this image very easily. So to make it beneficial for us to use it a little better. This is a very important part in the process of virtual production. This is called keying, and this is where Aximmetry is very strong. Actually, one of the strong points of Aximmetry is that we have our built-in chroma keyer, which we call the advanced B keyer, and this is basically the way to cut out the talent from the green background. And then it's important to place the talent in a virtual reality, right? So as you can see right now, you can place the talent anywhere in the virtual studio. This is like a newsroom scene, you can say that, which used in many different broadcast shows. You can scale the image of the talent. So you have to know that the really difficult part of any virtual production is how you put together the real image, the camera's image, and the virtual studio. You can see that there are predefined camera paths. So this is the virtual studio, and then Thomas is in the middle of it, all of this. You can see that also with the keying, right now we are not keying out any shadows below the feet of the talent. We are placing this under the feet of the talent with Aximmetry. So this is getting rendered by Aximmetry, and it's placed there. And you can, of course, adjust it, as you can see. If you can move it around to make it, look more realistic. That's the whole point. Yeah, again, this is the studio. Why also virtual production is like very useful is because very, very quickly you can change scenes, and you can change not just the scenes, you will see that in a second, but you can also change the lighting and the daytime, for example. So this is like an evening show. Here you can have like a morning show with the same studio, but with different lights. Also, you can have I don't know, this is maybe like for an afternoon show, or a very late midnight show, which is for, very little lights to no lights. Of course, you can add different effects. What's interesting about this image right now is that there is a spotlight in the virtual studio. So not in the real studio, but in the virtual one. And this virtual light basically casts shadow of the real talent on the virtual floor, right? So that's the most interesting part here. And if I continue, you can see that we can place like 3D rendered objects in front of the talent, and this will also cast a shadow. So it makes it very, very realistic. You put some, you can go crazy with this. So you can put like nice butterflies, and you can just see how the shadow interacts with the talent, which is very useful, and it's a nice way to make it more, realistic. You can also add external controllers to the PC, and you can add external controllers to the software. So you can adjust the light's intensity, you can adjust the light's color, you can adjust the light's direction as well. Again, these lights are virtual, so these are not real lights. But as soon as it, lights the light on the talent, he gets a little bit greener. So everything, all of these functions make this, more realistic for the production to feel like the talent is really, really there in the new studio. Meanwhile, he's sitting, he's standing here next to me and in a green screen studio. Yeah, you can go absolutely crazy with all the effects. Here are some volumetric lights. For example, you can see if the talent moves around a little bit, or the lights affect him. Of course, which is again very useful, you can place stats in front of the talent. You can place stats wherever you wish, basically. And these stats can be updated real time. So whenever you have a software which updates the data set for all of these bars and charts and so on, you can update it real time in Aximmetry. By the way, for the more technical ones of you, these particular like columns are, the numbers are from a JSON file. Yeah, of course you can. Do you feel very hot? Are you all right? Okay, so this is like a particle effect with some fire ring, with a fire ring around Thomas. This is again, everything what you see right now is rendered by Aximmetry, and it's Aximmetry's own engine. You can also see different lights again, and again, very easily you can place virtual TV screens or LED screens, or however you would like to call them. You can place virtual screens inside the studio. As you can see now, we have a stock video playing over there on the TV screens, or the LED strip, or whatever that is. But you can also put like a live input there. So let's see if, yeah, I can move around in the studio. Again, I'm right here. So you can place whatever you would like on these virtual screens. Yeah, again, you can see me, and you can see Thomas on the other side. Hi. You can place, of course, you know, different graphics, pre-recorded footage, videos, again, live feed as well. Very easy to achieve all of this in a virtual production, you know, setup. You can place like channel logos wherever you wish. You can put crawls on it, information. This is, you know, again, mostly for broadcast purposes, but you can, you know, you can go crazy with any kinds of overlays, for example. Here you have a stock video. Again, this is one of my favorite stock videos. Actually, it's very pretty. You can imagine like watching the evening news and seeing this, for example, what this can be useful for many, you know, different other things as well. Again, that's me. And you can place you can place like post-process, you can effects on the talent, only on the talent, or you can place any kind of post-process effect on the whole image as well, which makes it very very easy to you know, to have like a better final result. This can be, you know, used anytime also with Aximmetry. Let me go back for just 1 second. I want to show you something like maybe like this would be good for now, or this. So as you can see, on the crawl it says LED walls, and we also implemented the usage of LED walls in our production. And what I would like to show you right now is that we have a short video which was made by one of our users. And this is about an LED production. So please look at this carefully, because we are very proud of this. I would like to show you what can be achieved with Aximmetry in a professional, Yes. So yeah, I think I would like to answer this question. Maybe you were not here at the beginning. So what you see right now, it is a classic virtual studio with a green screen. Let me go back in our this is okay, even though it looks like this is like a slideshow, it's actually not a slideshow. This is all put together in Aximmetry. So here is the green screen studio we have. So this is the green screen studio. This is the live input, and we can crop it, and then we can key it out, and then place the talent in the studio. So we are, good evening. Hi. So going back to what I was saying before, the LED production, which is, you know, gaining a lot of ground at the moment. I would like to show you that there is a video. Let me change. I think the sound should be played right now. So now you can see how all of this was made. So this is all made with Aximmetry, and of course we are kind of proud of this production. This is just one example. So a lot of this can be achieved by Aximmetry. So we are very proud of all of our users, and I just saw a comment that we have another Aximmetry user here. So thank you so much for the feedback. We are very, very proud of all of you. And thank you so much for using the software. Before we move on, I would like to show you one more thing. And actually in secret, we have another colleague over here whose name is Matt. And he's going to help me a little bit with moving this. Yeah, he's waving his hand to you now from behind the camera. So I'm going to point over here. So here you can see a camera. So the camera uses a tracking system. I think you will see it like this. I think if you stand over here, it's going to be a little better. Yeah, so you don't cover up the whole view. So please give me 1 second. Don't move the camera. Also, it's fixed. So please give me 1 second. I'm going to change scenes now to another scene. Okay, so now you can see that this is how quick it was for us to change scenes. So now Thomas is in a completely new scene, and before Matt is moving the camera around, this is just a side note. So now this is an Unreal scene. So Aximmetry does not just render its own scene. We can use also Unreal scenes as well. So right now Matt is moving the camera around a little bit. We have a very small studio, so we have to be careful how we move it around actually. Oh yeah, it's a big camera. So as you can see, we are moving the camera around a little bit, and the scene is moving together just as the camera is moving. So this is a good example of a tracked camera, which I think is going to be spoken of right after I spoke. So I think that's kind of enough for the demonstration. Thank you, Matt. I'm going to change back to our scene, which was before. So please give 1 second to Aximmetry to load the scene which we were using before. Thank you. Okay, and now I'm going to say thank you for Thomas. Thank you so much for showing us, with the green screen production. And you can see me again now. So hi. And this is kind of what I wanted to show you with, Aximmetry and what can be achieved and what else we are capable of. So now you have seen like kind of a broad range of use. So for us, doesn't really make any difference what kind of production you would like to do. Like you would like to do a green screen, you would like to do an LED wall, track cameras or stationary cameras. All of this can be achieved with the virtual production and with Aximmetry as well. So what I would like to do now, if it's okay for everyone, is that okay for me to take some questions if you have? Hopefully I can answer, and I would like to answer if that's all right for everyone.
So there's another question. How do you integrate on-air graphics? Is there an additional system, or is it integrated also newsroom data from NRS systems?
So actually, on-air graphics, what you can do with Aximmetry is that we have built-in graphics in Aximmetry. You can utilize those. You can create your own assets. You can create your own graphics. Okay, I hope you are. I hope you are all right. So you can create your own graphics also with Unreal Engine if you wish, and you can kind of simply integrate it into Aximmetry. So these are simple like 3D assets which you can use in Aximmetry. If it's Unreal, it can be used in Aximmetry, or if it's made with other modeling software, it can also be used with Aximmetry. I hope that this kind of answers the question.
Christoph, does it?
Oops, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, thanks. So probably you have your own render engine.
We have, yes, what you have seen, not the last one, but before.
Yeah.
It is Aximmetry's own render engine. Yes, that's right.
Okay, so if someone wants to use, let's say, more the classical setup for virtual production, let's say more filmmaking approach,
yes,
that would be a complete usage of the Unreal Engine, for example. And how do you integrate? So Aximmetry in that case is doing the camera tracking, or how do those work together?
Okay, yes, thank you. Very good question. So how do we, okay, so Aximmetry, the software package, comes in two different versions. One is the single engine version. That's what you have seen in the first part. And in the second part, you have seen the Aximmetry dual engine version. Dual engine, okay, so single engine, it means that we use Aximmetry's own render engine. And there is the dual engine version, which means we use Aximmetry's own render engine and or Unreal Engine. What you do is you have your studio, you create your scene, you create your assets in Unreal Engine, and you open up Aximmetry. You connect everything to Aximmetry. You connect the camera to Aximmetry. You connect the tracking system to Aximmetry. You can connect the external controllers for lights, whatever you wish, to Aximmetry, and you just like literally drag and drop the Unreal scene into your Unreal Engine into Aximmetry workflow. You connect a few pins and you are ready to go. Aximmetry Dual Engine comes with an Unreal Engine, like an Unreal Editor for Aximmetry. This is called Unreal Editor for Aximmetry. This is a little bit different than from the vanilla Unreal Editor. We have some edit functionality to very easily add functions to be, available from Aximmetry. So kind of a little bit like Aximmetry acts kind of like a gateway to the assets in Unreal Engine. You can move objects from Aximmetry, but the scene itself is being rendered by Unreal Engine if you would like to use it that way. You can, and also the tracking data goes to Aximmetry. So Aximmetry handles the Unreal scene. You can, I think that's the easiest way to tell you what Aximmetry can do in this case. Does that answer your question? Is that?
Christoph said, okay.
Okay. Too much.
There's another question. Speaking of DE, which is what I use, will UE5 be coming soon, now that it's officially released?
Thank you for the question. We are working on it. Eventually, yes.
Okay, we have another answer. The implementation of UE5 has already started.
Yes, definitely, yes.
Okay, so you're working on it.
Yes, okay. Not me personally, but our developers.
So one thing I can tell you, and this is a very nice story, if you install the Aximmetry package, you will find an application that is made for doing visuals for VJs, where you can play Unreal scenes that are triggered by audio, and use this as a tool to make visuals and Bildtapeten for clubs and techno parties. So I think we all working in this real-time 3D world once had an eye on VJing and visualizing music. And so, yeah, this was one of the funny things that I discovered when I first installed Aximmetry. And I thought, okay, if guys that are doing this, they come from the right corner. So I wanted to say thank you, because we played a lot with it and we liked it. And we're already thinking of doing a party just really? For making some visuals with your tools.
That's very good to hear. Yeah, you are very right. Actually, the software started 14 years ago. And it started out as a VJ program. And it was actually, I'm not sure how much you know about Hungarian composers, famous Hungarian musicians. Maybe you know Franz Liszt, he's like the most well-known one. But there is another guy called Béla Bartók. And Béla Bartók's one of his music basically was the one which how to put it, like started Aximmetry, you can say that. But definitely Aximmetry started out as a VJing software. And then we have entered 6 years ago, we have entered into the broadcast world. And 2 years ago, it just blew up. And I think 2 years ago, it started going like to the moon. It's crazy. And we are so happy about it. But it's so good to hear that there is someone who actually appreciates also the, let's say, the good times or the good old times, and and to have that, you know, understanding of, yes, that's exactly where Aximmetry started.
I have one question personally from a licensing point of view. You have, if you want to use Aximmetry, you have to license Aximmetry, clear. You have different packages with different approaches where you can get NDI functionality. But the question is, how does Unreal has to be licensed in a broadcast environment, for example? Because I mean, you all know Unreal is a software package that is used for games, so we're kind of a side channel in their use case, with our use case. And yes, everybody working in a professional environment has to have the licensing thing in his eye. What can you say us about this?
Okay, so thank you. That's again a very good question. The first thing I would like to add is that the Aximmetry licensing starts at free. So you can use Aximmetry, you can try Aximmetry for completely free. You go to the website, you download the community edition, and the community edition comes with either the single engine or the dual engine, absolutely your choice. So you can try out the Unreal stuff as well. Of course, it comes with a little bit of limitation. And then we have different software packages. So we have a little bit more, like we call it the studio package, which is for smaller studios, maybe YouTubers and so on. There is a professional version, which is for like proper studios. And then we have the broadcast version, which can handle any kind of tracking system, LED walls, different cameras, and so on and so on. So it can calibration and so on. So it can anything, everything is included in that package. Now the part for Unreal Engine, when you purchase the Aximmetry software package, it comes with what I mentioned before, it comes with the Unreal editor for Aximmetry. So for that, you don't have to pay anything extra. It comes with the package itself. As for how to, so for example, you hire a graphics designer and you create and you ask them to create a studio or to create an asset or graphics for you, and you purchase it, or then it's yours. So you don't have to pay extra for this part. I'm not sure if you would like to use Unreal in a different manner, if there is any licensing fee for that. But in this case, we never had any issues. So we haven't heard about anyone saying that, oh, I got sued by Unreal because you are using it with Aximmetry. So that never happened before. So I'm not 100% sure about how the licensing for like using the Unreal part works, but I don't know if there is any, I don't know of any. So if that's like a proper, you know, if you buy Aximmetry, you can use the Unreal editor for Aximmetry. You can put together your scene and you can use Aximmetry to show it to the world and to show your production.
One thing I can tell you is, because there's some guys that are interested in broadcast AR, the AR part is in the broadcast package. So you have to have the biggest package to do some AR stuff without green screen, for example, playing with Formula One cars on your desk.
Right. Also, some of our users use it with LED walls and AR together. That also can be done. So yes, because AR is very, very common in the broadcast environment.
Okay, Daniel, I say thank you for your showing us what Aximmetry does, and sadly you have to leave early, so you can't be here for our questions and answers in the end. But I think we had the chance to put down all the questions we had.
Okay.
Say thank you and wish you a nice evening to Hungary.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for the attention and also for the questions, also for having me and having us over here. This really means a lot to us. So thank you so much. And we really appreciate the good words. Actually, okay, if there are no more questions and if this is it, I am happy to answer a few more questions if the time fits, but otherwise, thank you so much. And I wish you a very, very nice, you know, rest of your show.
There's one question. Aximmetry does provide an internal key solution. Yes, it does. I can answer that.
Yes. Thank you. We
Okay.
do have clean plate generator, everything included, yes, and it's kind of highly appreciated in the industry.
So, and if anyone is interested in Munich, we have the Aximmetry running in our studio. So if you want to have a look at it hands-on, you can come and visit us at Yo-Yo. Please call me first and then we can have a coffee in our studio. So this is what I can offer from my point. Thank you, Daniel.
Thank you so much.
Next up.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye.
So next up is Christoph. Christoph, I hand over the microphone to you so you can introduce your student.
Oh, Clemens. First, you said it was in the year 2000 when you started with a virtual studio.
Yes.
Yeah, and it's so funny because I have a client at the moment who started at the same time and he had the same problems that you had, and now I have the feeling that we are again in the kind of repetition of what we have done in history repeating, exactly like this. So as you said, I'm a professor for game design and management and media design and management and game design and management. So because I have a company that works in the gaming industry for nearly 20 years now, so when at our school there was the idea to make a virtual production, they also asked me if I can provide some students to do that stuff, because everyone said, okay, game engine, it should work, yeah. But what they didn't know is that our game engine students know a lot about gaming and about making games, but not about the high-end graphics that you need for that task. But I'm really glad that Leon found at the end some people, but he can maybe tell us about the problems that he had with the students. Leon is one of our alumni, and his bachelor thesis was about virtual production, and I was very lucky because it was a real pleasure to read it. And I give the micro to you, and then I have the PowerPoint presentation here that I can share.
Thank you. So first I would like to introduce myself. I'm Leon, and I used to study media and communications management at the University of Fresenius. And I was doing 3D design for quite a while now. So it's I started when I was about 12 years old. And my parents are architects, so they always wanted me to do stuff for them. So I got a lot further into it basically. And also about 2 years ago, I switched from an offline renderer to the Unreal Engine. Because I thought, the quality is there, and what I can do with that in future is just crazy. And I didn't study anything about 3D because I wanted to know what's the business behind it. Basically, that was the point. So what's behind the media business, the communications business? So I also did my bachelor thesis in virtual production, but I also made a practical project together with a few students at the university in my last half year. And we did as you can see, Luz de Esperanza is the project name. And that was a virtual production project for the SOS Children's Villages worldwide at Hyperbole and together with Hyperbole. So how did we get to that project? So about 1 year ago, I had to do a vlog about something, like any topic, and I chose virtual production. So there was basically a lot of this Mandalorian stuff, and I was very hyped about it. And then 2 weeks after I presented that, my professor came to me. So Dmitry Popov, the other professor, and said, we can make if you want, I talked to the Hyperbole and we can make a project there. So if you want, we can make a commercial. We just need a partner and we're good to go, basically. And everyone's like, yeah, okay, why not? But the other students didn't know what it meant really, because they were just they were not into that field. And I was like, oh my God, we can do that. Wow, that's absolutely crazy. Yeah, let's do it. So then we found a partner for the spot, which is an NGO, and the SOS Kinderdörfer. Maybe we can go to the next. Yeah, so it's SOS Children's Villages, and they're an NGO. They're active in over 100 countries, over 700 locations they have. They support, or they have over 3,000 projects and support over 250,000 of children and give them assistance and their families all over the world. So that was really huge for us because it was just crazy at that point to do that with such a big studio. And then everything worked out, we had to start working. And basically the first challenge was to find an idea. And that was quite challenging because we had many conditions. So first of all, we got a marketing script for them. So it must fit to their marketing campaign completely. It can't be too complex. So because we're just students, basically, not knowing much about filmmaking, really. And it must fit in 1 day of shooting at the Hyperbole. And we only had 2 environments that we can possibly fit in that time. And the environments can't be too hard to make. That was the next thing. And must have a clear front and background, of course. And we basically had, at first we had 0 budget, so €0. And so that was really a challenge to get an idea for that. And of course we must have a child. So we must shoot with a child, because if you're doing a spot for a children's NGO without having a child in your, it's not going to work out, obviously. But that always is, when shooting with a child, it's always very complicated, or can be very complicated. Luckily for us, that worked out. She was very professional, even though she even hadn't done that ever before. So yeah. So we thought about the ideas. What can we do with this? So basically, we can do. At first, we thought, okay, we can do everything with the Hyperbole. It's crazy. It's a full LED stage, 6 meters high, crazy technology, worth millions. And like, okay, yeah, well, what do we do now? And then at first, you always get inspired, of course, by other videos. So you're watching stuff that was made in the Hyperbole, but it was mostly car commercials, and of course, let's say Mandalorian, for example. And but that was not what SOS Children's Villages was all about. So it would never fit. You can't have these crazy reflections and so on. So we had to do it a lot simpler, and we came to the idea that we take a child and film her in a poor environment. So basically in the favela, for example, in South America, and telling a story about it. And then all we need was a hooking story, basically. And yeah, the story was that we see a child, or we can. Yeah, thank you. We see a child, and she's sitting in the evening. It's dark outside. She's sitting at home in her shed and reading a book, and suddenly the light goes out, and because of the electricity cut. And she's like, not angry, but she's sad that always the light goes off. It's not stable power in that poor town. And the next day she thinks, okay, yeah, how to solve the problem? Okay, let's go to like a scrap yard or garbage yard and try to find something to build her own lamp, basically. And then she finds all these parts. So that's the lamp, by the way, over here. That's the prop we used for this. Clemens made it so. And Yeah, of course she can't. She's like 8 years old. She can't do it by her own. So she finds help at a SOS Villages assistance center, and they help her to build it. And basically, she uses the light, and it works, and she's absolutely happy. And then you see the future. So in the future, she's an engineer, and yeah, thanks to the help of SOS, she got very successful, and also found talent, and also in the back had made light basically. Yeah. Yeah, that was the idea about the spot, because the hard part really was to make it work in that low budget that we had. So what can we do? So we had this background of this kind of favela. Maybe you can go the next. Yeah, that's one of the references for the future. So it must be a laboratory. And then we had the next one that was the favela reference. And yeah, so the environments must be easy to make. And I found something on Kit Bash, which was a favela kit, and that fitted it quite well. So it looks basically exactly like that, just a bit less quality, of course. And also Megascan's assets, they're very like destroyed stuff and so on. So that worked out really, really well, and was we thought it was quite easy. Also for the set design, because we had the ground, of course, and we had to make it fit. We couldn't do. We didn't have any money to buy crazy stuff. So what we came up with was buying sand, and sand. I think we had 200 kilos of sand, and that cost like 20 euros or something. So, and the next thing that was free was garbage. So yeah, and that worked out pretty well. So as Clemens told us, the first plan was to let the students do the environments, but it didn't work out. And then he gave me the contact to the game studio, and they had 2 interns who were like, really, oh yeah, this could be a nice project. Oh yeah, we really want to do this. This is perfect. And yeah, I mean, I could have done it, but during that time I was doing my bachelor's thesis. I had to work for my clients. I had 2 other regular courses and was managing the project. So I thought about it, like it would be 3 to 5 days to create those environments, but that didn't work out for me. So I was very glad that these interns did it, and they did a nice job on that. It's really cool. They really helped us out in that. Yeah. So then the day, everything was planned basically. We were ready to shoot, going to the Hyper Bowl, and yeah, we put it on screen for the first time, and it looked really bad, like a big mess at first. And the future scene that we can see here actually looked perfect. We just had to put down the exposure a bit and some minor stuff, but the other one was really bad. So I talked to the stage operator, and in about a few hours we polished the scene, made it look good, and so that was actually possible on set to improve it so much, which was crazy. And we also noticed that we didn't have enough sand, so we got to the market and got new sand, and we also didn't have enough garbage. So I told the guys, I told everyone, yeah, just bring a bag of garbage and some bags filled with pillows or something, and that would be all right. But what I didn't notice is that we needed a lot more, so that it was just so big. So on stage, we just thought, yeah, well, garbage is everywhere, right? So we just there was a garbage bin, and we looked into it, and it was completely full of the most perfect garbage, like non-branded, in plastic, cardboard, everything. So that was absolutely perfect. We just put this huge bin just on set, prepared it, and yeah, that really saved us. So, and the Hyperbole guys, they're all also like, yeah, we had everything in here. We had white sand, red sand, we had water, even feathers, something, but never garbage. But that was what it needed for the project, really, to make it look authentic in our way. Yeah, Fleur, yeah. So exactly, that's what it looked like more or less in the beginning. Looked really bad, and we can go further even. And that was the set. So lots of garbage, and we can even go a bit further, I think. There was the future scene. So that one looked really, really nice. And I think I have one more. Yeah, that's the final shot, basically, I was talking about. So I think for a student project with no budget, I liked it. Yeah, we finalized everything and cut it together in post-production, and yeah, did some post stuff, and also I made some full CGI shots to establish the environment, basically, without the child. And and yeah, that was the scene, basically. So it's a bit more detailed, and we got the film together, and it was really nice. In general, I'm really proud how it went. Like, the team was just awesome. Everyone was highly motivated. We had so many uncertainties. That was the hardest thing, I would say, because it was during high COVID in winter. Everyone was wearing a mask, of course, and if one necessary person would have gotten COVID, the whole project wouldn't have worked. It would be cancelled, because yeah, it's you can't, if your actor has COVID, it's not possible to shoot, even though we might have had a second one. But yeah, so I'm really happy that all that worked out. Generally, I was very impressed by the camera quality, or the in-camera quality. So you see it on the Hyperbole, and like, oh yeah, this is nice. And then you look through the camera with all the depth of field and stuff, like, wow, this is crazy. This is absolutely great. Blackmagic Ursa 6K, quite a big camera. This was a camera we got from the Hyperbole, so it's their testing camera, or ready to use camera, basically. Yeah.
In your bachelor thesis, you wrote that there at the moment virtual production is, when we're talking about virtual production, there are two techniques that come together at the moment. One is the LED screen, and the other is the real-time game engine part. And when we're talking about traditional virtual studios, so that now we can do virtual studios in a high quality because of the game engine, and not really because of the LED screen. But at the moment we see a lot of studios that are built with LED screens here. I think in Munich it's 5 or 6 new studios at the moment. So there's a lot of effort going into these LED screens. And for sure, I see that the reason for it. But in your bachelor thesis, you looked at the possibilities and where it is necessary to have this huge LED screen, and when a green screen or a projector or whatever is more the better solution. So what was your resume after after the bachelor thesis and the shooting in the Hyperbole studio? Because Hyperbole is the most impressive LED screen that we have here in Munich. Yeah, it's the largest one.
Yeah. Yeah, the Hyperbole was absolutely impressive. That's true. I think when you have a story and you want to do it with virtual production, you have a few things that you need to think about, basically. So it's not in general, I would say it's not the holy grail of filmmaking, I think. So when you're watching a movie and you're like, okay, this is possible with virtual production, this is not, okay, this might be, this is not, this is. So yeah, it's a bit hard to say, to be honest. But you basically you limit to a foreground and the background. That's the first thing, and also with the real-time technologies. I mean, they're not quite there as like an offline solution or post-production. So they're, if you want, for example, if you want crazy particle simulations or something like that, it's not going to look good on in real time. It's just not there yet. So yeah.
Everybody claims that with virtual production, the cameraman and the director has more freedom, like it was in good old times when yeah. So did you have this feeling that it is like this, or is it more the marketing?
I think it's absolutely like that. So we've never shoot there before. Like, we're complete students. Most of us didn't even make films before, really. So we had no idea, and we're just going to that studio and trying things out. So our cameraman was like, yeah, okay, stage operator, can we do this? Is that possible? And he said, oh yeah, sure, give me 1 minute. Oh yeah, there it is. So that was very easy and easy to work with. And that happened so many times, and we just tried it. Like, we just put it on screen. Can we rotate it a bit? Yeah, sure, rotate it here. And it was, so of course it was a creative process, and I would absolutely say, yes, absolutely.
The most controversial part of the Hyperbole studios is that their ceiling is also an LED screen, and so here the other studios all claim that they have traditional light because it's better and looks better, but Hyperbole claims that they have the better reflections because of the ceiling.
Yeah.
Was it for you a good use case, or didn't you use the ceiling at all?
Yeah, it was actually a problem for us. But I mean, in the Hyperbole, there's been a lot of car commercials, and they need that, I think, to get the reflections on top of the car as well. But for us, because we were shooting at basically daylight, and that was a big problem for us, because we didn't have these crazy lights, we couldn't get those, and so we just basically put all of the ceiling in complete white to get as much light as possible. And that, yeah, of course, is not realistic, but it was the best way for us. And so it was good that we had the ceiling, because otherwise we wouldn't have had any light from coming from above. But yeah, we missed one big daylight artificial light, so that was one of the problems that we had, actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wir könnten noch Stunden weitermachen, aber
yeah, we can do this for hours.
So, one question to you: is virtual production now a part of your education at Fresenius Hochschule? Yes. So this is a class, and because
it really starts. So we have a green screen studio. We have a small green screen studio at the moment, and so nothing that is really useful for that kind of stuff. But we have now three, what we call, it's the creative cluster. And the creative cluster, there are three courses. That one is game design, one is media design, and one is motion design. And now we will start with the fourth one, UX design. So, and all these have in common that we do real-time graphic. So yeah, in all these parts we have real-time graphics. included. And so we don't have a module at the moment for virtual production, but that is planned. And we have one module where we actually do virtual production in the upcoming semesters.
Perfect. So now we jump from Augustenstraße in Munich to China. Or maybe we put the questions to the end, and now are switching to our guest Tim. He's the one where it's 1 o'clock in the night, so we appreciate really that you're still awake.
It's 2 o'clock.
Still take you the time. 2 o'clock already. Okay, so it's 2 o'clock already. Tim is still awake, and yeah, we're happy to have you. Tim, you are from HTC. You are a virtual production specialist. You know everything about this little box everybody's talking about. May I hand over the microphone to you?
Yeah, how do I share screen? Hold on. Yeah, it says when I try to share screen, it's disabled. I can't. I have a little like presentation to show.
Maybe Clarence can make you a co-moderator, and then it should work.
Yeah.
Please try again. Now it should work. We had the screens blocked with our presentation. Sorry.
Got it. Okay, so I have a presentation here, but it's very it's for pretty much for beginners, and you guys are all pretty pro. So I'll try to blast through it, and then we can go from there. Maybe there are some people who don't really know that much about camera tracking, and we can they can learn more about it. So, hi, I'm Tim. Yeah, I'm part of the business solutions in HTC VIVE. We recently came out with the VIVE Mars CamTrack solution, and so I'm just going to go through really basic how it came about. So really basic. You know, for virtual production, there's real-time compositing and also the real-time rendering for LED walls. So so camera tracking is one of the most crucial parts of the component. And so currently a lot of the camera tracking solutions are quite stationary. So it requires you to put trackers on the ceilings or build a really big truss. So it would take days to set up. And then some are very costly. So it really prices out anybody who's just trying to get into virtual production. It has a very high barrier of entry. And then if there's anything that's like, you know, hacked or repurposed to try to, you know, lower that barrier of entry, it's quite complicated. So you would need some quite a lot of technical skills or programming skills in order to use it. So basically a year ago, 2 years ago, Raymond Powell, who was the vice president, was seeing how he was noticing that a lot of people were using those magical VIVE trackers and putting it on top of cameras. And then so he started looking more into it and seeing where we could add value to that. I think using the repurposed VR technology, it's very easy to get a shot off or to you know, learn the entry level type virtual production. But once you get into a more professional setting and you need this thing to work for a whole day shoot or even for broadcast and stuff like that, the thing has to work. So then so the next level up, the professional, almost like a little bit above prosumer, is basically where we're aiming to create this this CamTrack solution that's portable, affordable, and most important, simple to use. So this is what they came out with. There's a video, but I think pretty much a lot of people here already seen the video. So Clarence we can just send out that link later. So the VIVE Mars CamTrack it has 3 components. One is in the back, you can see the base station, and then the Mars module, and then the rover, which the tracker 3.0 sits on top of. So as you can see, it's very simple to set up. So just if anybody who doesn't really know virtual camera tracking, I created this little workflow that we can take a look at here. Hold on. Okay, so you guys all know, like, for green screen camera compositing, basically it would, okay. So then basically, once you shoot something, it goes into your PC, and then through the PC, then you would key out the green and then composite. While that's happening, the rover here, oh my God, sorry, I don't know what I'm doing. The rover here sits on top of the camera, and then that pipes into Mars, and then Mars through RJ45, so this is all internet-based, goes into the live link, and then through your virtual scene, then you would create the proper background for you to be composited onto. And then so this would either be on the reference camera, and then so then your photographer, your DOP, can then frame in relationship to the any kind of virtual object that's moving. Yeah. And then so if you see this in a, sorry. So in an LED wall, basically it's kind of the same thing, but then the only difference is that when the live link comes out, it goes into in display, and then in display then goes to the LED wall. So then what you're capturing is just the camera shooting directly into a LED wall with your subject. So everything then is baked in. But because it's baked in, that's also really scary, right? That means all your preparations have to happen before your shoot, and you can't really fix it in post as easy. Okay, so what are the components that would then have a proper CamTrack? First is position, right? That's what everybody knows. Where is your tracker on top? It just is the XYZ of your camera. But the other thing that's very important is your lens parameters, right? So like all lenses have distortion, right? So like if your lens distorted isn't factored into your virtual camera, then basically what you're gonna see is the virtual, if you have an object in real life and you had an object in the virtual scene, if you pan over it, when the lens distortion part, then it would just kind of like drift out, right? And then it would kind of drift back from the other side. So it's very important that you have a good, some kind of calibration system that then would reflect your virtual camera lens parameters with your real lens parameters. And then the other thing that's very important is your timing. So something like Genlock and timecode sync in order to basically lock in the timing of this whole system. So with these three things, then basically you have a proper camera tracking. So for us, one of the biggest things that we want to integrate was that this is really plug and play, that the Mars system has the Steam VR inside of it, so that it's not on your computer. So it's not taking away from your CPU. So when it's inside here, then there's no installation required. This goes directly into Live Link protocol. As you can see, it's pretty portable. You can set up pretty much within 30 minutes, and you can tear down. So then it could be a virtual production that can be brought to a celebrity or a nice car that you don't have to always have them come to you. And another thing is robust wiring. So it's always nice to have wireless when it works, but when it doesn't work, then it kind of gets screwed, right? So one of the biggest requests was to basically hardwire the whole thing so that there's no co-channel interference and other things. In virtual production, latency is the biggest factor, right? So then you want to make sure that it has the strong and stable connection. One other thing that was requested from the community was basically a one-click reset origin. So basically you are able to put another, because we have 3 trackers, so then one tracker can just be on the floor to then click to recenter. We have, yeah, one of the good features about Mars is that we support up to 3 support up to 3 rovers. This means there are some solutions that are per camera. So if you have a multicam broadcast solution, then that would be ×3 of your budget. So with this, you're able to do multi-camera or do other tracking, like you can track onto a light or something else, but 3 trackers. The calibration kit, because the calibration board had the rover on it, and then using that rover and your camera rover, you're able to find out the exact distance. We have a quick calibration process. And then what's the most important thing is to genlock and timecode, which is very important in broadcast and also for compositing. Yeah, and then so this is, the whole kit is $5,000, which is, I believe, very affordable and is able to really, I guess one of the reasons why HTC is doing this is to really believe in democratizing this technology. So one of the biggest things is it has to be affordable for people to actually be able to use it. So it's $5,000 is a good barrier of entry price. Okay, that's it. That's my little presentation. I think if anybody has any questions, we can go straight into that. Hello. Yeah.
Okay, questions. What kind of frame rate can you tackle with this virtual production?
What kind of frame rate? It can go, well, see, because it's using Steam VR trackers, right? The trackers actually can go very, very high. So it's not really about how high it can go, but then what you need to lock it on, because usually like in gaming, the frame rate is almost variable, right? So what you really need is some kind of genlock or some kind of time constraint to make sure that it's locked into a frame rate. But the Mars system itself already has your standard frame rate, 24, 30, 60, yeah, and then I think 90.
Thank you. So now we already had an opinion from a student doing a bachelor thesis. Now I want to have your opinion. Will virtual production change the way we do movies from now on?
That's a good question. I think right now, just because it's a trend, a lot of people are doing virtual production for the sake of doing virtual production. But what I think the most innovative part is not really going to come from like people trying to do Mandalorian, but people shorter form. There's like a studio here that joined our early bird program, Third Realm, and you see like how they're able to, whether it's YouTube or short form, you can see how they're basically using LED walls and just being able to create like interesting content that would basically other companies can latch onto, like advertising and other stuff. So I think the innovation will come to when this technology is way more democratized. The thing that I try to that I like to talk to other people about is like, think about how creative Hollywood is versus like how creative TikTok is. So like once it like became the hands of like the whole world, then we really do see some really cool stuff that happens, and I'm excited for that. I'm excited for when virtual production is given to the other people who are just doing like, you know, product launches, or even for like executive speeches. Like Aximmetry is doing really cool stuff, and you know, you could just have one person be able to have look like they're you know, broadcasting out to like a large stage. I think it's very exciting, but it's mainly that stuff, not really that much of the Mandalorian storytelling. I just feel like that, yeah, that's quite hyped right now.
But would you say, like, if you had student friends, would you tell them that virtual production is where the beef is, that this is where they should train themselves into it, like you did? Do you see a bright
100%.
future as a virtual production specialist, or is this a way where you want to go? Maybe I hand this question over to you.
Wait, if I could answer that too, just really quick. So I went to USC Film School in LA, and I also did a lot of, I wanted to get into virtual production. So I was training on their motion capture stage, but I didn't get enough training on that. But then when I graduated, I had no access to it whatsoever. I had no access. So then I just became locked out. So I went into commercial production. But if I had a choice, and if it was democratized, especially with what Unreal is doing, then I would be able to keep training onto it, and then I would have almost a career to it. I'm not salty. I'm just saying that, like, I think my advice to any kind of filmmaker or film student right now would definitely be learn Unreal, get into that stuff. At least you have a solid income that you can latch onto if needed, right? If needed. But also you're learning something that then you'll realize your own vision or dream, right? So then also you're looking into, like, through Unreal, you could learn the animation part, right? Then now you're in a way storyboarding your dream project. So then you're realizing your actual dream as a filmmaker while you're doing this. So it's all parallel. Yeah.
I would like also to add something. I think in gaming, the most important revolution was the asset store. So especially the Unity asset store, because everything
100%.
was affordable now, and even a small studio could do incredible things because of the tools and the assets, because they were available. And I think the same is going to happen now with virtual production, because you can afford any kind of set in the future, and that's the part where I see a lot of possibilities. Yeah, and when I think to I studied also film, and when I think at the time when I was there, it was so hard. Even the simple set was really expensive to build, and so we were always limited by budget. Yeah, and this is the main. I think the main chance is really the asset stores.
Yeah, I think the asset store in a way is what we think in hardware as the prosumer revolution, right? So then originally when you wanted to shoot, you know, with a Sony Alto, whatever, and it was just hundreds of thousands of dollars, Canon came out with the 5D, right, and made it prosumer that we all had access to, and it had shallow depth of field that we can say movie-like, you know? And then, so, you know, with the asset stores now, with a little bit of money, you can just purchase assets that are just as high as, you know, the Hollywood style, and then you have no excuse now, right? It's just about what story you want to tell and how you want to say it. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that helped us. Without the asset store, our project wouldn't have been able to realize, basically, because I mean, I think we paid $150 or something on everything, and that's fine. So that's not too much.
Yeah, exactly, right?
Yeah,
So
some
the exciting part is like when a director can just focus on being a director, or like a storyteller can focus on being a storyteller, and the assets or whatever, it's just like that's all roadblocks, right? That's just what the Hollywood people get as privilege, because they simply have a whole team to be able to realize their ideas. And now with Unreal and, you know, the asset store and everything, I think it's easier to imagine what you had in your mind, right? I think that's the tragedy of being a filmmaker, is that when you're born with an idea that you cannot realize. And then so now with Unreal and all these kinds of tools, you're able to realize and show people that what your story is. Yeah, it's exciting times, I think.
I just wanted to note that Daniel is still there, because we had the information that he has to leave early, but actually it's not like that.
Yeah,
so he can join the
talk to-
discussion as well.
I'm
Yeah,
sorry,
yeah.
I'm sorry, I don't want to interrupt. It was, I think it was a mistake on behalf of my communication. I'm still here, very happy to answer anything. I'm sorry to interrupt. Please continue. This is very exciting for me as well. So thank you for the insight. One more thing I would like to add. We have an HTC Mars in our studio, and we are testing it right now. So
I don't know if you can say that actually, but okay, yeah, you can
Sorry.
say that, sure. But we are in communication, and great things will happen. Yeah. But yeah, I am a personal fan of Aximmetry stuff. I think it they have this one video of basically a person just propping up a green screen, and then he's in front of it, and he was able to just have this like swooping shot of a camera angle. And then once I saw that, I'm like, cool, I get it. So I think it's very empowering. You're able to see just from like Aximmetry's like viewership, membership, a lot of the emerging markets areas is really popping up. And I think that's definitely the exciting part, that these people who didn't have access to these kind of technologies are now doing really interesting stuff, doing their own little, you know, broadcast station or doing YouTube stuff. So I like what Aximmetry is doing.
One stupid question that we found that was always asked is, why can't you do this kind of stuff with Unity? Why is it always Unreal? Because you have a lot of Unity users out there, and can you explain what the problem is, and why this Unity pipeline is not really supported?
Wait, you're asking me, or
who wants it? You can answer.
I feel like you need to get a Unity person here.
You are the Unity.
What I can say is that 3 years ago, we had here in Munich one day an event from the from the FFF Bayern, so the German Bavarian film funding. So and I had to moderate the day, so it was really a strange thing, because it was 3 years 3 years ago. Virtual production was not there where it is today, and there was a presentation of Unity and a presentation of Unreal, and at that day they were both nearly they were both so strong that for me it was like there's no reason to go for one tool, because both are really, really, really strong tools. But what came out at the moment is that the Unreal did a lot more when it came to the real-time rendering than the Unity, because the HDR render pipeline, in my opinion, the HDR render pipeline for Unity really sucks. So as a game engine, it's really, really still great, and I think what Unity should do is to focus on the game developers that they have, because I personally use Unity every day in my work, and they should focus on these users more than to try to do the same that Unreal is. And Unreal, it was from the past, it was really always, from the gaming point, the Unreal was always a really incredible good rendering engine, but not a good game engine. It was a game engine for some kind of games. It was perfect, and it was a perfect tool if you have a really, really huge studio that makes its own pipeline around this. But Unity was is a game engine that is really easy to learn, and it is more for democratizing, what you can say. It's for smaller studios available, and I think it's a little bit like the same situation that we had in the past with Maya versus other tools. Yeah, Maya was incredible for huge studios, but not for small studios, and so a little bit the same. But now with virtual production, I think the Unreal, it really depends on the rendering engine part of the engine, and there at the moment Unreal is definitely stronger.
One thing I want to add is, I mean, we heard the news that Unity bought Veta, the production company that did Lord of the Rings in New Zealand, and we were all expecting something to happen. But nothing happened.
Yeah.
What were you expecting though?
Today Unity.
I didn't get your question, Tim. Sorry.
Yeah.
What were you expecting out of it? They would just
something like, you know, Unity is trying to get hold of Unreal, because I think, you know, they saw the train leaving, and I think they wanted to do something. But in the end, I would like to talk to somebody from Unity why they bought Veta, and what was their plan, or are they going to a normal post-production business now?
I think they still try. I think they still try to go to this market as well. We have
Christopher said there's a group of Unity users doing virtual production.
And it's still, I think it depends what you want to do. And there is here Chris Kahler. I don't know if you know him. He's from Munich, and he's at the moment he's doing a very eagerly awaited rendering extension for Unity, and the first results of that, he's working on it for 2 years now, but it's really close to what you see from Unreal. So I think still from the technology they could do it, yeah. And at the end, I think for many reasons, situations, Unity is enough. You don't always need that high-end rendering engine. So it's the same with games, yeah. But I think it really depends what you want to do. But today I heard the news that Unity had a lot of people fired, yeah. So there's something going on, definitely, yeah.
This is what we all read in the news, that Unity is downsizing. One other perspective I want to bring into this is, and I talked with Clarence. He told us the story that you told him the story. It's about how long can you use, or how complex is it to use these big LED studios, because you have dead pixels, you have LEDs shifting colors over time. I mean, one of our VJ problems in clubs was, when we're doing visuals over 4 or 5 screens, is that you never have 4 beamers that were the same color level. And this is the same with LED panels. So can you tell us something about this, Tim?
Yeah, I mean, it's quite complex of being able to properly play back a large LED screen, right? Manufacturers, you basically have to buy the LED from one batch of a production, or else, you know, there might be like slight coloration differences. Also, LEDs just die, right? You get dead pixels on your monitor, you get the same thing on your LED screen. So then, you know, you just have a constant cost of swapping out, you know, LED pixel. So the interesting thing is, basically there comes to a point where the larger you build the stage, there must be some kind of diminishing return to being able to even rent it out. And so that magic number is, I'm sure a lot of people are thinking about that. Like, how big do I make my screen to try to get the higher production? But the truth is, a lot of the higher productions have their own stages, like Amazon, Netflix, they all have these like dedicated stages that they use. So how many Mandalorians are you going to get to be able to fill that schedule is a very interesting thing. So I think for what I'm seeing more of, more of the Mars users are smaller LED screens, and I think these smaller LED screens are really interesting because you could be using it for, you know, product launches, or, you know, like a small concert, like a single person concert, and those kind of things that would be able to open up their businesses to, you know, other opportunities. I think that's cool. But for pure shooting a TV show, there's not that many of them to go around. So if you're thinking, I'm just going to build it big so I can get the big show, I don't think it's that simple. Yeah.
I mean, what you always have to have in respect is that Bavaria is big in car production, and virtual production studios fit with cars and the reflection perfectly. So we have Audi, we have Porsche, we have BMW. So there's lots of cars that want to be featured in the virtual production stage. So for our part of the world, I think we will see some more productions in Hyperbole, for example. Maybe you can tell a bit about the Hyperbole. I mean, they just moved the whole Hyperbole from the Neue Messe to Penzberg. Have you been there?
Not in Penzing.
Penzing.
Yeah. So it's about. So I'm not working at a company. I just talked to the CEO when I was shooting there, and they moved. Basically, they had during COVID all the fair, the Messe München, Fair Munich. They had lots of space, and then they built a studio over there. And then at some point they had to move, and now they moved to Penzing, which is about 50 kilometers from Munich. And since then I haven't been there, but apparently they really liked it. So I talked to him, and he was really hyped about it because they finally found a perfect location for them, and it's beautiful, it's quiet, it's a bit outside, but he was like, yeah, he was really happy about moving there. Yeah.
Personally, I think we have really interesting other studios here as well, but exactly what you said, with a smaller LED screen. For example, Plaza Media had a classical TV studio. It's really a TV studio with an LED wall that's not that big, but it's enough, and traditional light, and it works for so many cases. And I think this is a great opportunity because it's way more affordable than the Hyperbole is. Yeah.
Mm.
And the
And
Hyperbole
it's
is crazy.
easier to manage too. I mean, like a large LED screen, I guess, you know, when they have the roof and it's supposed to have the accurate reflections. We've been to one stage where it was one of the widest in Taiwan, but because it was so far away, a lot of that accurate reflection that we wanted was so far away that it just became mush. So sometimes being small is actually a good thing, to be able to have it up and close and personal. The one thing is really cool also is something with Aximmetry. And then if you have a good like set extension type, you know, application, then your small screen can still be pretty epic in terms of your camera movement and such.
Yeah, also my bachelor thesis, one of the conclusions was that it's just way too expensive. It was just the example of the Hyperbole. I don't know how much it cost. I calculated it like very roughly, and was absolutely in the millions, as you probably know. And the rent per day is
I think the interesting thing that
10,
happened
15,000 a day. I don't know. I have no idea, but So that's just.
I can say that I for the CTF there was a documentary that I helped them and we planned to do it at the Hyperbole Studios, and then at the end it was simply too expensive because for the same amount you could really build some of the shots in a really traditional way. So I still see that as it's really important that we have the Hyperbole Studios here, but for the smaller or the mid-budget projects, a smaller stage is definitely more interesting. And it begins with simple things like that they at the Plaza Media they only have one PC, so the background is really coming from one PC, and it's really easier to manage than Hyperbole with I think 10 or something like this. Yeah.
You really have to think about what you're shooting too, right? In terms of like, let's just say it costs $10,000 a day, right? You're shooting. You being a director, or you being a producer, are you going to have that time to experiment anything? If someone said, hey, let's try this, are you really going to be like, okay, let's do that? That exactly cost $3,000 right there, right? So then you start, when you go into one of these large stages, there shouldn't be any like decision exploring or anything. It should just be decision making, just like pump it out. Whereas if you're in a really small stage and you can afford to experiment, then you can really take in this whole, you know, figuring out on the spot and being a problem solver there. But in terms of like being in a large stage, you're just go time, right? That's just money you're burning. So then you have no time to really try to do anything unless you're like a big Hollywood movie. So I think the really exciting stuff is definitely with like, you know, even with green screen, is when you can play around and you can really try to figure something out. So like one of the most exciting things that I've heard from quite big VFX studios that want to use Mars and that purchase Mars is that they're saying that, look, what we're going to use it for is we're going to tech viz, we're going to pre-viz, we're going to do all that kind of stuff with a smaller volume with the Mars system, and then we're going to take it to the bigger stage. And when we do it on the bigger stage, we're just swapping out parts, right? It's just the fundamentals are all there to shoot, which is pretty cool.
So maybe I can push a question to Daniel. From your user base, what would you say Aximmetry is more used for LED applications or for green screens?
You can hear me now, right? That's a very good question. Thank you for that. Now it's changing. Now we are getting more and more users in LED setups. So now we are getting a lot of interest in like even LED producers. I mean the companies who create the LED walls. They are the ones who are also looking for us so to show the demonstration of what their walls are capable of and so on. So we get a lot of that. As for the production part, so like to be, I would say 50-50. I would say 50-50. Still a lot of our users use the green screen because as mentioned before, LEDs are expensive, but you know, it's for smaller studios, a green screen is as suitable as an LED production, you can say that. So if you have to invest money in it, of course, the equipment is very expensive. We are lucky since for us, it doesn't make any difference if it's an LED wall over there or a green screen. For us, it's, you know, whichever is good for you. We can handle both.
Thank you. Yeah.
Tim.
No, it's the same for us too. Yeah.
Okay.
Right. So I would say right now 50-50, but we are getting more and more users. It's kind of hard to track since we are gaining a lot of users every day, basically. It's kind of hard to see, but we get a lot of how we see it on the support team and how we see it here in our office is that we get more and more questions regarding LED production and getting less questions with green screen productions. Part maybe because we have answered most of the green screen, questions already, or, I think it's right now, I would say 50-50, but LED wall is gaining a lot of ground here, so getting there.
Yeah, I agree.
So, Christoph Wurzer, maybe you can tell us something about this technology, Brompton, which from your side is a key to virtual production. Maybe you can tell us something about this. And then you can maybe tell us something about this Cologne Film Festival grant that is given.
Yeah, okay. You can hear me, I hope, yeah.
Do you have a camera?
It's not really working on my laptop here. It's going to crash if I'm turning it on, so I better let it.
Okay, video professionals without camera, go.
Yeah, well, it's a Microsoft issue in that case, so very well now. Yeah, Brompton is remapping technology. Basically, it's very heavily used for virtual production because you have to route to the different chunks, let's say, of your LED screen, because you're using different, or let's say different, you're using a lot of cubes, let's say, right, where the images has to remap to. And there is a technology from the company called Brompton, LED processors, and they are quite expensive. So that was my question, if there is some other competitor already, because at the moment when I'm looking at setups, most are using those Brompton processors, LED processors. So maybe someone heard about different companies already. So I'm not really aware if there's a big competition somewhere. But this is definitely used to map your images on the LED cubes in the end. And yeah, wait a second, I've got it here. Yeah, there is this Cologne Film Festival, and I've got it here. I can read it to if you like to. There is a European Virtual Production Award. This year, Hello Stage. Hello Stage is a virtual production hoster, LED hoster in Babelsberg, in Potsdam. This year, Hello Stage and the Film Festival Cologne will present the first ever European Virtual Production Award, which honors outstanding international virtual production projects. 3 projects will be selected and get the opportunity to produce at the leading virtual production studio Hello Stage for up to 4 weeks. And Eric Wolf, who is the chief of that company, said on last 2 weeks ago that also it's not just 4 weeks of production on his stage, plus a quite big grant of Unreal assets will be included as well. So in that case, those assets will be produced for the production. So it's not just ready-made assets from the Unreal store, but they will be produced for the production. So I don't know if it's still open, but it looks to me that you can still submit to that. And yeah, here are the grants are first place 4 weeks of virtual production at Hello Stage worth 700,000 euros. So it's a good point to know how much money they would charge for that. Plus lights and camera worth 200,000 euros. 4 digital sets worth 300,000 euros. That's the first prize. Well, so at least you can see the prices that they have.
Okay, $700,000
euros
a month. You said euros a month. Okay, perfect. Not the regular budget, I would say.
Depends what you do.
Depends what you do. Any more questions?
I kind of have a question.
Yeah, okay, Tim, please.
Do you guys, I guess for people who are in the crowd and stuff, do you guys see any, do you guys see any potential of virtual production using Mars or anything that would how do I say this? Do you see any like new businesses or opportunities in virtual production? Let's just say if you're an animator or like a freelancer, that you see that any new business opportunities that you see with virtual production? The answer is no.
What I was really interesting. What I would find really interesting is to have a tracking, a very small tracking solution that you can basically strap onto your DSLR and just move with it, and then have like the tracking parameters going to some sort of internal storage, and then you upload it into your After Effects, and then you have a camera tracking or something like that. That would be for like small productions, but you still want to have a very accurate camera tracking. That would be very interesting. Yeah.
Well, I think there's a few things in that. One is that a career, almost a virtual production, like, you know how we have DITs, right? So in a way, it would be like a virtual production guy who is able to almost rent a cart, and then he, you know, goes to wherever and sets up a small virtual production studio to shoot. So like, whether that could be a career. What else was I thinking? I was just thinking of other people who are like, I guess if you set up like a dance music video type thing, then this person would go there and like set up a some kind of background for someone to shoot. I'm always interested in seeing like what basically what we can help, how we can help other people make more money in terms of as a business, right? So like
that sounds good. Please help me.
Yeah.
Please help me.
Yeah, so like, you know, if you're an animator and you want to look for more remote work, is there a way that using remote type virtual production that can get you more work? Or everybody needs more work. How to expand that.
Hallelujah.
And just like, yeah. So it's just like how we broaden, you know, people's business opportunities. I'm always interested in seeing where that is.
What I can see is like, you know, the old school camera guy had no idea on visual effects. And what we're going now into an era is that a camera guy has to know about tracking, he has to know about Unreal, he has to know about LED walls. So if you are a traditional cameraman coming from the film era, I think you have a lot of young guys pushing into that field now that were grown up with handling cameras in 3D spaces, for example. Or, you know, like making camera moves in 3D, and now the combination of camera or high-end cameras, tracking systems, and the pipeline into 3D software. I think this is one of the future professions that we will see arise in the next years.
Well, I think the one thing that really needs to then be adopted is robotic arms, right? So that you would be able to create some kind of motion camera movement, and then it being replicated on the other side with a robotic arm. Then you have real like remote production.
And this leads me to PTZ cameras. Now, what we do in our sailing school is, as we don't, you know, we have like 20 hours lessons. So there's only the teacher in the classroom. There's no camera guy, there's no video operator, there's no guy on the mixer. So they have to do everything on their own. And what makes it really easy is, sorry to say, but PTZ cameras, as you have all the data with this 3D protocol that Panasonic implemented, and now Sony is coming up with it for small and medium enterprise solutions that need like a backup of their fair business, because there are no fairs because of Corona. So they want to do fairs in studios that would be on fairs, but and want to explain stuff, and then you come up with PTZ cameras in combination with Aximmetry. This is, I think, where good business can be done, because it's cheap. I mean, you know, the cheapest PTZ camera you can buy that has 3D as a protocol implemented is about 4,000 euros.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, you know, as I think as there a lot of corporations aren't traveling as much because of COVID and stuff, and they have to have, you know, executive presentations or meetings, you know, all of these kinds of things are, it's almost freelance work that a virtual production person could, you know, capitalize on.
So if I look in our chat, we are already creating awareness, and this leads to a question. If anybody of us could recommend a course where I can learn all about virtual production, I would go to the Aximmetry website and do their tutorials. To be honest, this is how we all started, I think. I mean, you know, I think this is all such a new technology that you have to grab the bits and pieces where you get them. And I mean, a lot of the things we do is we experiment and watch tutorials, and this is, and then it's a question of trial and error, and then you get somewhere. But to be honest, I couldn't tell you one proper course. I could tell you an Unreal course, but I couldn't tell you where you could learn the combination of virtual studio sets with green screen and cameras. Anybody else? Fresenius High School?
Yeah, I didn't find anything also. And I think for me, I think it's the thing, you have to work at a company who got all that stuff, because I don't have a LED stage in my basement where I can have fun and try things out.
You know,
right? I mean,
yeah, you can. This is. It sounds weird, but you can use your television as an LED screen.
Yeah. Maybe you can do something small. Yeah, I saw some videos about it. Some people doing.
Yeah, we do. We
some
also,
very small scale stuff.
Yeah, you can try. Yeah.
Also, for content creation in Unreal, there's many courses, of course. Yeah.
Sarah has a lead. She says ASC offers a course. Maybe if we Google it, we can get there. Oh yeah, here trainings from Unreal. Perfect. So there's different sources where you can get some stuff. Any more questions?
I like Aiden Wilson.
And as Daniel already said, you can get Aximmetry, the free version, and start doing. I mean, starting to do stuff is maybe the best way
We are
to get into there, you know.
Thank you so much. We work a lot, very hard on you know, on expanding our documentation system, and we are focusing a lot on the, I don't want to say like teaching, but kind of something like that, like more on the training part. That's it. Of course, we have our own trainings as well. So Aximmetry provides training for Aximmetry usage and just general understanding of all of this, and very specific ones too, LED trainings and so on. But that's a different story. The part which you can access completely free from our website, we have a knowledge base, and we are expanding it all the time. Most of us are working very hard on it, and we very much hope that eventually we will get to a point where you can use that as a learning curve into virtual production. We really want to do that as well. So we are trying to get there. So shortly, hopefully.
One experience I have, I mean, there's another player in the field that does that's the software we work for the last 20 years, which is Vives RT. They started in Austria and Tyrol, and now are everywhere on the planet. And one thing we noticed over the last 20 years is that you won't find a television station without a Vives RT license. I think 95% of the TV stations on Earth have at least one Vives RT license. They use it whether for polls, or live votings. They use it for weather. They use it for analyzing sports like soccer. They're so big, and nobody, not nobody, but if you ask students if they know a company called VizRT, not many of them will say yes. And if you want, this was a bank. If you are a VizRT operator or a creator, this was one of the jobs where you really could charge big money. And if you don't know how to create scenes, but connect them to databases with JSON to bring in live data from weather databases or football databases or soccer databases, then this was one of the chances where I said, yeah, you don't even have to be that gifted to get somewhere. Clemens nickt.
I agree, because I had the same experience with VizRT, and I know a lot of people that are still earning a lot of money with VizRT, but most of the time programming with RT. So as you said, integration of database and so on. And personally, all the time when I'm talking with them, I say, look at Unreal, look at what the game engines do, and be prepared for the future, because I don't believe honestly, I think the future is really more in game engines. And at the moment VizRT is great, but I personally doubt that that in the future that they will be so important than they are at the moment.
Yeah, as far as I know, they have integrated Unreal already as a renderer, but I mean, logic-wise, they are quite advanced, and if you run a big television company, they have a big experience on how to implement things. So I think, if you have big broadcasting companies, Viz still has the advantage of being in this business for the last 20 years. But on the other hand, I would say, if you look at the prices they charge, this is not the way to go for small and medium enterprises, or, for example, us as a sailing school. There definitely Aximmetry is the way to go, because, we go live and then we go offline and we have 2-hour shows and that's it. We don't have a news studio here and a weather studio there, and we don't have teletext that has to be fed, and there's so many things in a television station that are running simultaneously or have to run on the same time code and stuff. So I think if you're small and you want to get in there, Aximmetry is the tool of choice, definitely, because at that price tag you won't get nothing from VizRT, maybe not even the manual, and yeah, but still in a professional area, they're well implemented. This is what we have to say. And I think if you're, I mean, the skills that you use that you need as an operator in Aximmetry and VizRT are quite similar. So if you're still not sure what you want to learn for your life, maybe this is a way to go. Daniel is smiling.
It's what we have learned. I mean, what the feedback is with us, and like little difference, let's say, price tag definitely, the learning curve. So learning Aximmetry, they said they can do it very quickly, and they said that with other software they have to work really hard for a very long time to get like a good understanding of the system, and that's the feedback we are very happy about. So it's a lot. Our users say it's very easy to use Aximmetry. Basically, that's the feedback we get.
So one thing that I'm personally missing in Aximmetry, and I can tell you this now, this is why I'm happy that you are here.
Tell us everything.
We are, from the history, XRBavaria is a group of people that has VR mainly in their focus, and AR classic, but also 360 video. So what I am asking myself is, when will be there the ability to play out Aximmetry scenes in 360, like equirectangular?
by 360.
I mean, you know that we just don't get a 16:9 framing, but we get a 360, like a rectangular playout of an Aximmetry or Unreal scene.
So to look around.
Yes, to look around. So we use Aximmetry not for a television station, but for a live 360 broadcast studio.
But we do that.
You do that?
Yeah. We have, for example, if you have like an LED wall, the LED extension goes around. So it's the whole scene is basically everywhere. So if you point the camera around, you are in the scene and you can see it wherever you point the camera.
No, but the playout has to be 360, you know, so you can watch it in goggles.
Sorry, guys. I just want to say thanks to Tim because he has to leave us. Really nice having you. Very enlightening insights you brought to the table here, and have a good night. You stayed up.
Yeah.
Thank you, Tim.
3 a.m. I
mean, it's 9 o'clock
the
anyway.
working one.
Maybe you can find some last words, Clarence, because it's 9 o'clock. 2 hours are full, and I think.
Oh, I didn't want to ruin the vibe. I was gonna just down.
no,
It's 3 in the morning here.
You're not ruining the vibe.
Tomorrow,
I think it's what's really empowering is that you can feel that there are so many creative people from over the world like into this technology, trying to figure out what to do with it, and I think each of you guys really burns for the creativity that is behind all of this, and I think this was very nice to hear from you guys. And I hope that the audience was enjoying it too. It was a little bit technical. So I would say it was very technical, but from the people still in the chat, I can see that you probably enjoyed it. So I would say thanks to all the speakers for taking the time, for sticking so long with us, having this chat. Hope to see you again in the future when we have something similar. That you can contribute to. I hope you had fun as well. All right.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yeah, from my side, thank you all for coming. Thank you for holding through until 4 o'clock already now. Tim, thank you. Thank you, Daniel, and your camera guy and your talent and all
they are saying hi, so they say
so we'll send over some beer to you, and now we have the pleasure to have a beer together, and wish you all a good summer, and
and we have to really shout out to these two people in the other room, like
our audience.
They're like
one thing, Clarence, one thing we have to do our promotion job. We have to promote the next XRBavaria meetup, which will happen already next week.
We will happen on Monday, Tuesday. It's what called Tuesday. On Tuesday, and we will have a meetup at the European Creators Lab. Sorry, and this is kind of a boot camp like thing where creative people from the XR industry can come together from the whole Europe and create prototypes and stuff. And you can join them on Tuesday. I think it's 7 o'clock as well. This is gonna be only in presence. There won't be a live stream or something like that. It is a networking event. It will be in
Goldberg Studios.
Yeah, in the Goldberg Studios here in Munich. So if you have time, join us there. I myself won't be there, sorry, but I think it will be very interesting. And we have the whole motion capture setup there. We have some the stuff from Manus there, the Manus setup, and we have the Rococo setup as well. And I think there will be some opportunity to try that out. All right.
Clarence, alles Gute dir.
Ja.
Einen entspannten Verlauf, würde ich sagen.
Ja, ich verlaufe dann mal. Ne? Genau. Und and take the pretzels with you.
Eine letzte Frage vom Clemens Hauner.
Christoph, weil du den TriCaster geschrieben hast, hast du praktische Erfahrung mit dem Ding? Weil ich bin ja so früher mal ein Newtek-Fan gewesen, weil ich so ein großer Lightwave-Mensch war und so. Wir haben an der Hochschule einen TriCaster stehen und irgendwie sind alle nur am Schimpfen und ich hatte noch nicht die Zeit, mir das Ding anzuschauen und alle sagen irgendwie, das ist so ein Schrott, dass das Ding bei uns bald rausfliegt. Aber wie gesagt, ich habe es noch nicht ausprobieren können. Deswegen würde mich interessieren.
Das kommt auf den TriCaster mit Sicherheit an. Es gibt verschiedenste Versionen davon. Es gab mal so ganz kleine, die waren wirklich nicht sonderlich gut. Die größeren, es gab wirklich einige über die Jahre. Die etwas größeren sind auch bei den Kollegen beim WDR zum Beispiel im Einsatz. Sogar, also für zum Beispiel, es gibt so ein kleines Studio, wo Schüler oder auch so Ausbildungsprojekte gemacht werden und so weiter. Da benutzen sie schon seit vielen Jahren. Es ist natürlich so eine All-in-One-Box. Nicht, das ist der Punkt dabei. Es ist ein Videomischer. Es ist auch ein ganz simples, einfaches virtuelles Studio mit drin. Ich würde das nicht mit Aximmetry oder Ähnlichem vergleichen wollen, um Gottes Willen. Na, aber es ist einfach eine ein bisschen mitbewegte Hintergrundkulisse, die man benutzen kann. Ich sag mal so, die Inputs sind in Ordnung normalerweise. Man hat die Standardeffekte, du hast Sound drin und so weiter und so fort. Man kann damit schon ganz, ganz ordentliche Dinge tun. Also mit den etwas größeren, mit den ganz kleinen würde ich eher von abraten, sage ich jetzt mal. Als Alternative dazu würde ich immer sagen, Vmix ist so eine wirklich hervorragende Software, die man sehr gut einsetzen kann, die günstig ist. Aber ich sage mal so, ich würde das Ding nicht unbedingt auf den Schrott hauen, aber es ist einfach die Frage, was man damit machen will.
Ich schaue es mir doch mal an, weil dann, nachdem was du jetzt gesagt hast, das hilft mir auf jeden Fall schon. Ich weiß, wir müssen eine recht große Version haben, weil ich habe mal mit Erschrecken gesehen, wie viel Geld die ausgegeben haben für das Studio damals. Und es ist noch nicht so alt, aber ja, genau. Aber dann schaue ich es mir doch mal an, weil dann ist vielleicht das Geschimpfe drüber doch mehr darauf zu schieben, dass die Leute sich nicht auskennen. Ja. Ich schaue es mir mal an.
Macht das.
Super. Dann sage ich auch von hier Danke. Alle, die zugeschaut haben, die mitgemacht haben, die kommentiert haben. Schönen Abend. Clarence, danke.
Ciao.
Ciao.
Thank you very much. Bye.
Bye. Passt so.